Hey guys, it's Jess, and I am so excited to be sharing my very first post as a member of the Hedgehog Hollow design team. So I'm going to be sharing a ton of inspiration with you guys over the next few months as part of that team. And I'm starting things off with a bang with a process video for a mixed media scrapbook layout featuring the new stamps from the September 2019 box from the Hedgehog Hollow. So I'm using two of the stamp sets that are coming in that box. These are Hedgehog Hollow exclusive stamps, and they're all feathers and peacocks and all sorts of really super pretty things. If you're interested in checking out the box, I will have a link to the Hedgehog Hollow YouTube channel where they released that all the details about the box and all that. So to get things started, I'm using a really gorgeous piece of paper from Prima. I adhered that to a white 12 by 12 piece of cardstock, and I'm using some white gesso around the edges to kind of help blur the lines a little bit so that it doesn't look like a piece of paper on another piece of paper, that it looks more organic. It kind of fades out into the rest of the cardstock, and this actually helps me build up a mixed media presence on the layout as well. So I kind of smear the gesso a little bit to the right and up towards the top so that this creates a waterproof barrier and helps my cardstock be stronger and able to take mixed media mediums. So I'm just using a little spatula from Tonic. I really like these because they're silicone and it makes it really easy to clean up afterwards. I'm notorious for not cleaning my stuff as soon as I should, and everything comes off of these so super easily. So that's definitely a win for me. So here we get a look at the stamps that I'm using for the first time. So I'm using these gorgeous feathers, and I decided after I stamped that first one that I actually wanted to do some second generation stamping because I wanted a softer look. And I really wanted it to look like the feathers were sort of like floating down the page. I kind of wanted it to coordinate with this butterfly sort of whimsical, light and airy feel that I had going on. But I ended up actually covering up pretty much all of that pattern paper, which is a travesty because it's gorgeous. But as I added more and more to my layout, it kind of disappeared. You can see little peaks of it here and there, but unfortunately a lot of it got covered up. So just continuing that second generation stamping and then moving on to the mixed media elements. Now, unfortunately, I seem to have had a little technical malfunction when I was recording, and I ended up with a whole lot of blank space where the camera was just filming my desktop when nothing was happening. So it seems like what happened is I accidentally pressed play when I meant to press stop, and then when I went to press play again or stop again, it was just backwards. So I ended up filming a whole lot of nothing and not where I added that pink stenciling and the little cobblestone sort of looking accents. All I did to do those is I used some ARTEZA metallic acrylic paints through that Kaisercraft stencil up in the upper left hand corner. And then I also use a really gorgeous Prima stencil. It's like not a stencil, a stamp. It's kind of a mini stamp. And I just inked it up with that same gray ink from Spectrum Noir and just kind of rolled it across my paper a little bit to get that more organic look for that. So then I went ahead and mixed up some texture paste from Ranger with some of the acrylic metallic paints from ARTEZA. This one was like a nice deep brown color. And I mixed that up together so that I would have a really cool colored texture paste to put through my stencil. And I did that spreading it through with the same type of spatula from Nuvo. Now I just added some distress oxide around the edges of my photo to kind of give it a more worn look. There is a little bit of chalky look towards the bottom, but that actually got covered up with my flowers, so I wasn't really too worried about it. But I think if I were going to do it again, I would use the regular distress ink instead of the distress oxide, because the distress ink doesn't really leave that same residue the way that the oxide does on a photo especially. So now I'm just using some double-sided foam tape to pop my card or my photo up off of the layout, and I purposefully didn't put the foam tape all the way around the edges so that I could tuck things underneath the photo without having it be in the way or blocking my space that I wanted to put things in. I didn't want to have to spend a ton of time trimming things down, and that works really well for me. So here I'm just using those ARTEZA metallic acrylic paints again with a paintbrush and just kind of randomly adding little accents of pink around those darker brown areas. I don't really know why I did this. I just thought it needed to be a little bit more bright. I wanted to bring out some of the pink from the cardstock that ended up getting mostly covered up, but I wanted to bring in some more of that pink and kind of brighten things up a little bit. I didn't want the whole layout to be brown, and that was kind of the route I was going. So pink it is, to the rescue. So then I also went ahead and spritzed some of that same metallic pink paint on a little clear sheet that I use for ink blending. I spritzed it with the water, and then I'm using a paintbrush to tap it and splatter it along my background. Now, don't do what I did and leave your photo exposed. Make sure that you cover it up so that you don't get splatters all over your gorgeous photo. Luckily, it came off. It was still wet and it didn't leave like a residue or anything, but we won't always be that lucky. So I just covered it up with a paper towel and called it good. I did also go ahead and add in some Dylusions black spray. I like to just take the lid off like this and tap it, and it creates perfect splatters, and you don't have to worry about spritzing it on something and then using a paintbrush. You don't even need a tool, which is awesome. Okay, so I did go ahead and layer up some flowers down at the bottom. Some of these are from Prima and some of these are from Little Birdie Crafts, and I don't know if you can see it tucked in the left hand side, and also, well, yeah, on the left-hand side, there are some of the border stamps from this box as well. So I actually stamped the little peacock feather border on a piece of pattern paper from Prima, and I fussy cut it, and I used that as an embellishment to stick out from behind my photo. And I really, really love the effect that that gave. It is probably one of my favorite parts about this layout. It's subtle, but it's so cute. And now I'm just adding a title. I added a couple different like little puffy stickers from some packages that I had, and now I'm using some thickers with some gold along the edges to create my sentiment. I decided that this photo was, well, this is actually from my son's preschool graduation this past year, and I decided that I wanted to make it an encouraging and uplifting sort of sentiment and title and all of the things that are on it. So I just chose a really simple title that says "On Your Way," like on your way to kindergarten, or, you know, just whatever. And I played around with the placement of the letters, and I wasn't really happy with it. So you'll see in the final photos, I did end up actually changing that a little bit. But I'm really happy with the way that it turned out in the end. I did choose sentiments and stickers and things that were all encouraging and uplifting, and I'm really happy with that whole theme. I hope you guys really liked this video and the whole scrapbook mixed media process. If you did, be sure to give me a big thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I hope I'll see you again in another video really soon.